Hi, Dominic Reyes here. I want to talk about the process during drilling your magic. So if you're using a drill practice session technique and you're repeating a magic trick quietly in practice over and over again for a short period of time in the morning and perhaps a short period of time in the evening, what does that process actually look like? Well, let's say you're learning, I don't know, a colour change technique or something with a deck of cards. You're going to, first of all, familiarise yourself with the technique before you start the drill. So you're going to read through the instructions or watch the DVD, and you're going to do it a couple of times, following the instructions, following the DVD to make sure you've got the moves down. Now you're going to start drilling that process, and there's a few different tips which will help you. Firstly, and as I've said in other videos, you need to do it as slowly as possible. And the reason being is you want to make sure there are no mistakes, because if you make a mistake and you're speeding along, you may just continue making that same mistake every single time you repeat the trick, and you're just reinforcing that error. So do it very slowly, being very conscious of the positioning of your fingers and the positioning of the props and the deck of cards, for example, in your hand. Really slow, almost as if it's in slow motion, and just make sure it's as accurate and as smooth and as well paced as possible. And just continue doing that for the first few days of your drilling. Not worrying about speed at all. You'll find that later on, as you do it so many times, you'll just naturally speed up without noticing it, and it will feel natural, but you'll be speeding up a good technique rather than a poor one. Now, I would run through the whole trick. If I made a mistake, I'd stop and I'd start back again at the beginning. I wouldn't just carry on through and ignore it. So I'm going through, I'm almost there at the trick, and then I flash something. I start right back at the beginning and I carry on again. But I'm aware now the second time I do it of that mistake. It's almost like a little punishment. You're not forgiving yourself, you're going back, you're resetting, and you're carrying on through to do it perfect. Because you're doing it over a time period of, say, maybe 15 minutes as your practice session, you're not giving yourself too much of a hard time. So if you keep mucking up and keep going back, it's not like you're saying, I have to do this 30 times before I can stop. You're just going to spend that amount of time, and you're slowly going to run through. If you make a mistake, you start again at the beginning, you slowly run through. That one worked, so now you begin again. You made the mistake again, you start at the beginning, and so on. Now, don't do this in silence. Think about how you're going to present the trick, things that you're going to say, questions you're going to ask a spectator, and imagine that spectator is there with you, and you need to be talking while you're doing it, and you need to be talking to the spectator, so making imaginary eye contact. So if you're doing a trick, you don't want to be down here saying, here, I put this to the back and then I show this and look, it's turned into an ace, because you're not going to be doing that in real life. You're going to be talking directly to the person. So practice when you're going to look at your hands and when you're going to look up and ask a question, like here, pick a card. You're not going to be looking down here when you say, here, choose a card. You're going to make eye contact and smile. So do that as well during the practice session. You want to make it as real as possible. So it's practice and rehearsal all built into one, and then reinforced and reinforced and reinforced. Well, I hope that's helped. If you've got any problems or questions at all, shoot us an email over at support@magicshop.co.uk, and check out the blog, which is blog.magicshop.co.uk. Thanks for watching.